Okay, I think I'll start. Thank you everybody for coming in right and early to this webinar about the Farmed Animal Welfare Incubator for the year 2026. My name is Lefteris. I'm a program manager for FAWI, what we call FAWI, the Farmed Animal Welfare Incubator. In today's session, you'll be hearing from Jaipal Gill, who is the program director, and Amarasi Bhupal, who is the research manager for this program. And we also have a great honor to have members from the two previous incubated initiatives who took part in the program in 2024, Across Species Project Indonesia and Sentient Animals Vietnam. And we'll be hearing from these people as well. Next slide. I'll go through today's agenda. First of all, we'll be hearing from Japal, and we'll be learning what the Farmed Animal Welfare Incubator program is. We'll be sharing a lot about the application information and the application process. We will be hearing from the incubator organizations, Sentient Animals Vietnam and Across Species Project Indonesia. Then we'll have Ambu sharing information about the current focus areas for 2026. And at the end, we'll have time for a Q&A session. So if you have any questions, you can use the chat section in Zoom and write your questions there, and we will get to them at the end of our webinar. Just a gentle reminder for today's webinar, we aim to create a welcoming space for everybody. So please, we'll try to be mindful of our speech and behavior to help us keep a friendly, respectful, and safe space for everybody. We'll try to be open-minded, even if we disagree with somebody else's view. I'll try to understand why and strive for constructive discussions throughout this webinar. And this is for the community guidelines for today. And I think with that, we'll head over to hear from Jaipal, who has prepared a nice presentation for us for today's session. And take it away.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here today. My name is Jaipal and I'm the Program Director for the Farmed Animal Welfare Incubator. Before I talk about this program, I'm just going to briefly share about the work of Welfare Matters. Welfare Matters supports the farmed animal welfare movement in Southeast Asia. We do so in a number of ways, and one of the main ones is that we support individuals who are interested in a career in animal advocacy, and we support them through our two major programs. The first is our fellowship program. This program requires a time commitment of a few hours a week. It is a 14-week fellowship where participants come through the program, they learn about farmed animal welfare issues, they network with fellow advocates, and at the end of the program, they are well placed to take on high impact work and careers in the farmed animal welfare movement. Applications for the 2026 fellowship have just closed, so if you are interested in this program, you will have to wait for the next round. The fellowship is very different from our Farmed Animal Welfare Incubator. That's our second major program, and that is the one that we are going to be covering for the rest of this session. Our incubation program is a full-time, intensive 12-week program where the outcome of the program is also very different from the fellowship. For the incubation program, the outcome is the starting of new farmed animal welfare organizations. So we bring in talented, passionate individuals, we support them during the incubation program, and at the end of the program, they start their own new organizations focusing on farmed animal welfare work in Southeast Asia. The reason we are running this program is simple. There are very large numbers of animals that are intensively farmed in Southeast Asia, enduring immense suffering. We feel, and many others feel, that there are not enough individuals and organizations that are working to tackle these challenging issues. So the incubator fills that gap by helping to start new animal advocacy initiatives in Southeast Asia. This is the second time we are running this program. The first was in 2024. And the good news is you're going to be hearing from our ex-incubatees who are now co-founders of their own organizations. Two organizations were started from the 2024 incubator, and you're going to be hearing about the experiences of the founders when they were in the program, as well as their experiences since having started to run their own organizations. All right, back to the 2026 incubation program. We are focusing on 5 countries, the ones listed here, and we are focusing on 2 main groups of animals, which are layer hens and fish. So you might ask, what are the issues, the welfare issues that layer hens and fish face, and how can one help them through starting a new organization? Well, the good news is one of my colleagues is going to be covering just this topic later on in this session. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to be covering about the incubation program in general. So I think we all know that starting an organization is a big challenge. It is no easy feat, and it is definitely not for everyone. But if you think this could be right for you, if you are interested in making a huge difference for the many intensively farmed animals out there, then the good news is that we are here to support you. We'll support you in a number of ways, and this slide lists some of those, the main ways that we will support you through the incubation program and after. So, as I mentioned, it's a 12-week program. It's full-time and intensive, so a lot of material is covered during the program, where we help you develop strategies and give you other tools that are necessary to design and launch a new organization. It takes a community to make a difference for farmed animals. And in the program, you will get an opportunity to network with incredible individuals, and you will get to know other organizations that are working in this space, both in the region and globally as well. And you can then tap on these individuals who will help guide and support you through your journey in designing and running a new organization. A lot is required to start a new organization, and one of the key things, of course, is funding. So the program provides up to 50,000 US dollars of seed funding, which should last approximately the first year of operations for the new organizations. So if you come through the program and you're successful in finding a co-founder, you're successful in taking an idea, developing it, designing a new organization, and you are ready to launch, then you stand a chance to get this seed funding of up to $50,000. You're also going to get a head start in terms of the ideas. So we have done research, we have consulted with a lot of people in the farmed animal welfare movement, and we have a list of ideas that you can take, develop, and then use to design your new organization. So you will get a head start in terms of working out what is the best way to help farmed animals in your country. As I mentioned, this is a very intensive 12-week program, and because of that, we provide stipends to help you with your living costs. There's also a 2-week in-person component where you have to travel to a location for 2 weeks, and the travel costs, of course, for that are covered as well. So after you launch, you're not going to be left on your own. You're going to be supported by Welfare Matters, and we do so in a number of ways. If you encounter challenges or issues, we try to help you where we can. Also, when you start a new organization, you are not going to be able to usually register in as a legal entity very quickly. It will take you a while to open a bank account, to set up your operations, to set up your backend accounting systems and other systems. So during this period, that's where we are there to help guide and support you so that your initial phase of your organization can be focused on the work while you take your time to develop the other supporting mechanisms that you need to become a full-fledged organization. So we are there to support you as well, not just during the program, but after as well. And finally, of course, very importantly, the goal is for individuals to come into the program and then find a co-founder, someone who shares their values and their passions so that you can work together with that individual to start your new organization. So as I said, it is a very challenging task to start a new organization. But if you are interested and you are passionate and you really want to make a difference, then we are here to help you. We are here to work with you to help start a new organization that will hopefully go on to have a very large impact on the lives of farmed animals. All right, this is a very short list of what are some of the things that we will be looking for. Of course, you need to be very ambitious. You need to have a vision of having a very high impact, which means helping a very large number of intensively farmed animals lead better lives. You must, of course, care very much for the issues that you are working on, and in this case, on farmed animal welfare issues. We also ask that you have an understanding of local context. That's very important. So we do ask that individuals who come through our program, incubatees, that they are based in the region. I think when you have a socio-economic, political, cultural understanding of a space, you are much more effective at developing strategies and tactics that can work on the ground. You, of course, must also be interested to start a new organization, but not just that, but also lead a new team. And finally, we do ask that incubatees are open-minded and evidence-based. This is very important because as you embark on your journey as a new organization, you will face many challenges. You might realize that what you thought initially you wanted to do may not have been the best strategy, and you might need to change and pivot. And this requires someone and a team that has an open mind, takes on evidence, and are nimble enough to change directions if necessary, especially at the earlier phases of the organization. So these are just a few of the key points that I've mentioned before. As I said, it's a 12-week program. So 10 of those weeks are going to be run online, and 2 of the weeks are in person in a location within the Southeast Asian region. The program is going to run full-time from September to November. So we do expect incubatees to be present and to be available, generally speaking, during office hours, Monday to Friday, though there may be some sessions that occur outside these hours. So during the program, you're going to be full-time and focused on the program. But please take note that also after you start your organizations, we expect someone who starts a new organization will also be full-time and focused on the work of the new organization. So you very much have to be available during the program, but also after the program ends to be focusing fully on this, what will be hopefully a very challenging, but also a very exciting endeavor of starting a new organization. As I mentioned, we provide stipends while in the program. We provide support for travel funding for the in-person weeks, and we also provide seed funding at the end of the program. We cover a lot of ground during the intensive incubation program. And here are just some of the areas that we cover. So you will learn about the animal welfare issues that are faced by layer hens and fish, and you'll learn about some of the best strategies and ways that a new organization can help improve their welfare. You'll also learn about leadership and operations and everything that you need for day one to design and start your new organization. Of course, the program can never cover every topic, and we do expect incubatees to have an entrepreneurial spirit, to have a learning culture, and to be continually learning and growing over time as your organization develops. But what we provide during the program is sufficient for your day one launch and for your earlier days. And then thereafter, you learn and you grow with your organization. And finally, like I mentioned before, it takes a community to help farmed animals, and that is one of the big components about the program as well, is that you will be connected to fellow advocates, people who share your same values and passions, and these are the people who will help and support you through this new endeavor. All right, so applications are now open, and they're going to be running from April to June. And our deadline for applications is 15 June 2026. The first step is an application form. After that, if you clear the application form, we invite you to step 2, which is an interview, the first interview with us. Assuming you clear that, you go on to step 3, which is a test task. This is a mini assignment that you do at your own time and you submit to us. And assuming you clear that, you go to the 4th and final step of the application, which is our second interview. So that will be the final interview, and then the results of your application will be known shortly thereafter. All right, I'm sure you have a lot of questions, and we are very happy to take your questions here during this session. But also, if you have questions that you think about after, please get in touch. We're going to be very happy to answer any questions that you have and advise you on whether this is the right program for you and how to go about applying for the program. Thank you very much, and I look forward to your questions.
Okay, that was Jaipal sharing information about the incubator program and how it's going to be run over the 12 weeks. I think now it will be a good opportunity to listen to the people who have already participated in the program in 2024. And for that, I would like to ask Chami and Shreya from Sentient Animals Vietnam to unmute and join me and just share a little bit about your experience in 2024.
Okay, hi everybody. It's our honor to be here today to talk about our experience. So my name is Mi. I'm the co-founder and the managing director of Sentient Animals Vietnam. And with me today is Shreya. She's also the co-founder and executive director of the organization. So we are an incubated organization dedicated to improve dog welfare in Vietnam. And I would like to talk a bit more about my own experience after, during, and after FAWI. So there's a saying that can really wrap my journey from FAWI, which is from zero to hero. It's really that the program equipped us with really solid knowledge foundation to dig deeper into the welfare issues of the selected species, the farming system of our country, and also to better understand other organizations' success. With the tools and also theories that FAWI provided, we we're helped a lot in our decision-making processes, and we also work really efficiently and systematically afterward due to all of the tools that we provided. And more importantly, all of the knowledge and skills that have been sharpened during the program really built my confidence and equipped me with what I need to become a co-founder. And maybe you you might wonder like how would be the journey to find a co-founder in the program. Then actually it was quite smooth for me in the beginning, because there were only two Vietnamese people in the program, me and Hang. And so we would kind of know that we'll be a match. But then we also know that we have some gaps. And then FAWI provided us with so many opportunities to work with each and every participant in the program. And then we found out that Shreya is really strong at research and analysis skills. So that perfectly filled in our gaps. So we invited her to be the other co-founder, and luckily she agreed. So yeah, thank you, Shreya. Now I will give the mic to Shreya to talk a bit more about her experience.
Thank you, Me. Yeah, I think I would completely agree with whatever Me has said about what the FAWI program provided us, including the knowledge foundation and the frameworks that we still use, and more importantly, building the confidence. So I won't repeat those, but I think where my experience maybe differed a bit was in how I went about finding my co-founders. Since I was based in Singapore and there are no particular FAWI interventions for Singapore, I didn't come into the program knowing that I would work in a particular country. I also didn't have a particular preference for which species I would work on. So, on top of trying to find the right co founders and intervention, I was also evaluating where I might want to work. So that was quite interesting. But I think the way FAWI is structured, like it gave me a lot of opportunities to work with different people and not just meet them, not just talk to them, but actually work on real tasks with them. And from these various tasks that we did together each week, I could get a better sense of how I work with certain people, how they think, and how we communicate with each other, and whether our interests were aligned. And so that really helped me in finding out who to work with and eventually choosing me and Hang as my co founders. So that was really helpful. And I also want to add, like Jepal mentioned, the benefits of the program didn't stop at the 12 weeks. We had continued support from Welfare Matters after finishing, including the regular check-ins. So yeah, we got continuous support from them after that, which we're really grateful for. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yes, Me, you wanted to say something? Sorry, so you unmuting yourself, Me.
Okay, thank you, Lester. I just want to say my last sentence, which is if you're really hesitating and you want to take actions and do meaningful impact for animals, then I think FAWI is a golden opportunity for you to experience the same from zero to hero journey.
Thank you so much. It's been an amazing experience to see how Sentient Animals Vietnam has started, has grown, and how much hard work you've put into your organization and the work that you're doing. And I've had the chance to talk to you just a little bit in 2024, but it's been amazing to see you. And similarly to the next organization, ASPI, Across Species Project Indonesia. Lolita and Diani are also here, who participated in 2024 in the program, and I would invite them to also unmute and share a little bit more about how their experience was in FAWI, and how their experience running Across Species Indonesia has been since.
Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for having us. I'm Diani from Across Species Project Indonesia. I'm the co-founder and strategy and programs director. And we also have Lolita here. She's also the co-founder and operations and growth director. So Yeah, we will share a little bit about our experience during and after the FAWI program, but Lolita and I will talk back to back. Like the first, we will talk about our experience during the FAWI, and then what the first year felt like to us, and then the last one we will talk about the challenges that we encountered. So I had a very wonderful time during the FAWI program because I met wonderful and very passionate people from the Southeast Asia. And I also learned how to understand to establish our own organization or initiative. And through the materials that FAWI provided to us, both in theory and in practice. So entrepreneurship has never crossed my mind before, but like as a fee, FAWI also helped me shape my confidence, and also I also learned many things from the activities and the resources and mentoring and any kind of helps from the FAWI team. And also the situation during the FAWI program was rather more collaborative other than competitive. So I totally enjoyed the program, both online and on-site in Hanoi, Vietnam, in 2024. And then I will also say that we started the initiative from scratch, but because FAWI has helped us to understand what to do, the steps that we needed to take, we learned not to be reactive to the situation in our local context, but rather we always try to build our strategy and plan and try to create the best and impactful outcomes. And regarding the co-founder, I also found the experience rather funny and also fun because we literally had to approach the persons that we thought would be the good partners to work as co-founders with us. And both during the online and on-site sessions. And we also got to learn about them through the activities that we work together, about their life values, about their working styles. And also, as for me, Lolita and I, we had known each other before the FAWI program. We work at the same organization, so it gave us a bit easier situation when we talk about the intervention in the local context. So maybe Lolita will add some more about this section.
Yeah, thank you, Diani. Hi, everyone. My name is Lolita. So, my experience with the FAWI was actually it kind of insightful a lot, even though I previously have worked in the animal welfare movement in Indonesia before I joined the incubator. But as I got into the program, I didn't even have a fixed plan on which issue or on what to work on. And then we learned about the research that Welfare Matters provided. And then we also did our own research. So it actually helped to narrowing our plan or focus on, our focus what to choose. And I actually gained also a lot of knowledge that I had never learned or never did or heard. Like, for example, like monitoring and evaluation or theory of change or cause effectiveness analysis. And in the program, I also learned about developing more of in-depth research skills on specific farm animal welfare topics, and also learn from other participants how they structure their test research and filter information effectively, because we work on a platform where we can see each other's work. And also found out country-specific issues in Southeast Asia through collaborating with other participants, each individual in the incubator program. So, and also I think the most interesting part is that we were able to build close support system during and after that within the movement, and the participants are very open and inclusive-minded people, even though, especially through the working face-to-face when we were in Hanoi, and we connected beyond work by spending time together or chatting or even watching movies in the common space. And okay, so how did I find the co-founder? Like Diana said, even though previously we already known each other through other activities in the movement and also worked in the same organization before, we also need to bond again and talk with each other and aligning our mission and vision. And since we found that we connected in the passion and we can strengthen each other, even though we also have background, the same education background in English literature. So we think there's certain skills that we can strengthen when we build a team. So from the incubator program, we created Across Species Project Indonesia. So we chose the name because it represents our vision and mission to intersectionally collaborate and to not limit our support in the future to one species only. And our focus is right now on duck welfare, because in terms of neglectedness, based on the research that Welfare Matters provided, and also in terms of the numbers of ducks being farmed in Indonesia, we chose that, and nobody has already taken the intervention for ducks. And also we did more research and consultation with other people outside the incubator program who already work in the movement from other organizations. Yeah, we saw the potential to collaborate with other existing organizations, especially because the issue that we brought up was about the ducks in battery cage, and there were already a growing cage-free movement in Indonesia, but for chicken. So yeah, it felt like the right area for us to focus on. So I hope
Thanks.
I'm not taking too much time.
Sorry,
By the
yes,
way,
that's what I was coming to chime in, Lolita. If you could
yeah,
make that
okay.
sense.
Yeah, basically what we did was producer engagement, public awareness, and government networking. And we also worked on the field to go to the farms in the first 3 months, and yeah, and do also work from our desk. Okay, maybe go to Diani to share some more.
Do we still have time left, Aris?
I would like to move on just for the interest of time, so that because Anbu also has a lot of things to share for this year's interventions. But if you have something in like 30 seconds, I'll be okay.
Yeah, okay, maybe just a little bit. So yeah, that's yeah. In short, we were really excited. In our first year, we got to make our own rules in a response, but we still have to be responsible with it and to own our own program, and still have the help from our colleagues in the movement, including the FAWI team. And yeah, so maybe that's all we can share. Hopefully you can find your answer after this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lolita and Diani, for sharing. And of course, if anybody has questions for our incubated organizations, they'll be here at the end of the session to answer your questions as well. So please don't hesitate to ask them in the chat. Now, with that, I will go to the next part of the session. So right now, I'm going to give the word to Ambu, who is going to be sharing more about this year's interventions and our target species. There you go. Take it away, Ambu.
Thank you. Thank you, Lefteris. Hi, everyone. So I'll spend the next few minutes to share about our approach, which is how did we arrive at these two groups of animals, and how we focused on these, what was the scope of our research and how we did it, and to understand the ongoing efforts in the landscape in the region, and how we identified what are the potential interventions that can actually produce positive welfare outcomes as well. So in the next slide, you will see that we scope for 5 groups of animals, which includes farmed fish. This is something new from the previous incubation program. We included farmed fish and layer hens, broiler chickens, pigs, and ducks in 6 countries, which would be Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Vietnam, and the Philippines as well. So we prioritize based on the scale of the issue and the farming, basically the numbers of the animals, and the neglectedness based on what we gathered from not just research, but also speaking to different experts and practitioners in the region who are carrying out ongoing efforts to reduce the suffering in the 6 countries, and also tractability, basically the feasibility of creating positive welfare outcomes if additional resources are put in. So we identified the layer hens and fish to be the focus for this year's incubation program. So in the next slide, some of the groups of animals whom we did not scope this year were other aquatic animals other than farmed fish, dairy cows, sheep and goats, and also cattle who are farmed for them. And so in the next few minutes, I will cover some of the welfare issues for these 2 groups of animals and what are the potential interventions and some pathways who have been established also by other organizations who have been carrying out this work here in the region. So for the layer hens, the egg-laying hens, the key welfare issue comes from the confinement, which is very high stocking densities and very little space provided for these hens. And when they are put in very high stocking densities and crowded conditions, several practices such as, say, beak trimming and other practices could be carried out, which can result in negative welfare outcomes. And also the stress from confined environment and high stocking densities can result in behavioral issues such as stereotypic behaviors or even inflicting injuries to other birds in the enclosure. So this is quite chronic. Basically, they live out their lives in such conditions, which can be from 1 year to 1.5 years. So that is considered chronic suffering. And because of very crowded conditions and high stocking densities, there will usually these birds are denied any opportunities to express natural behaviors, even some of the basic things like perching because of the lack of space. So some of the other issues have been studied well in other regions, but certain issues like heel bone fractures and lower bone densities because of laying something like close to 300 eggs a year is something that needs to be studied better in our region. But there's also other aspects because when at the end of laying period, when they are transported and handled for slaughter, their lower bone densities can result in a lot of suffering as well. So we also noticed that this is a growing problem because even though there's a lot of awareness, the per capita consumption of eggs in the region is very high. It's also growing. And the number of laying hens, basically the population of laying hens in these 6 countries also saw an increase. It can be from 3% to 15% in the laying hen population every year as well. So that brings about a concern in terms of scale as well, which means the suffering is not only intensive, but it's also increasing in terms of numbers. In the next slide, I'll go through this very quickly, but this is just a figure of how there's over 860 million laying hens in the 6 countries that we scoped, and half of them is actually, they are found in Indonesia, but the rest of the countries have more or less an equal share of up to 100 million laying hens. Next slide. We also, it's quite alarming that the countries that we scoped, mainly the 5 of them, were in the top 20 globally of the laying hen population. So next slide. So potential intervention, particularly to address the main welfare concern, would be to transition to cage-free, where the confinement is less of an issue, which means there will be a reduced stocking density, lesser birds in a given space. Providing more enriching environment could be perches, proper substrate, and also defining how many hours they are getting exposed to the daylight, and training and capacity building for the personnel in these farms, and also managing the environmental parameters, could be temperature, the heat, and egg quality, and more. So in the next slide, you will see that the pathways involve engaging the corporates to make commitments towards securing cage-free eggs, and also engaging the farmers, the producers themselves, to support them to transition to cage-free systems. And other ways in a systems level would be for policy and legislative reforms, where governments can actually have proper guidelines and some commitments towards cage-free systems, and raising consumer awareness as well. There has been some extensive studies in Southeast Asia on what could be the challenges. One of the key challenges would be cost barriers for farmers, for producers to go through the transition. And the next slide. So this is like a summary of the scale, which the numbers are very high. There's been some ongoing efforts, but because the scale is so high, we need more work to be done. And there has been some cage-free pathways that exist thanks to the organizations who are putting these efforts to work with the relevant stakeholders, but we do need more work to be done in the region. And in the next slide, we will move on to the next group of animals, on fish. So I'll spend the next couple of minutes on this group of animals. You will see that in terms of numbers, farmed fish really, we are speaking in billions. Usually only weight is reported, but if you look at the numbers, they are in billions. In the next slide, you will see that the numbers itself. And so we had to prioritize top three species, which would be tilapia, pangasius, and milkfish, mainly in Indonesia, Vietnam. We're also looking at the Philippines as well. So you can really see the numbers are in billions every year. And in the next slide, you will see the welfare concerns. This is like a summary for all three groups of animals, but because of time restraint, we are not going to go into different specific species. But really, during the growing and the farming stage itself, the water quality will affect the welfare of these fish, particularly the high stocking density and crowding, and not having a proper enriching environment can result in suffering. And this is chronic, basically during their whole life. And this can result in disease and injury. And during the harvest and before the harvest, often feed is removed and they're handled by crowding in one area. And there's a lot of stress from live handling and how they are killed without stunning, and also basically drowned in air as well. So in the next slide, you will see that this is a summary of potential interventions, which is really to engage and work together with the farmers, the producers, in terms of capacity building, training, and also to address the chronic suffering during the growing, which is water quality management, and reducing the stocking density as well, and supporting the farmers to have themselves certified so that can align with what the industry incentivizes. And some of the challenges and opportunities in this area would be that unlike the cage-free transition, most of the above interventions for fish can be integrated into the existing infrastructure, but the farming systems itself is very diverse in Southeast Asia. So that is still an emerging and growing field on how it can be done for small-scale farmers and different kinds of growing systems. It could be coastal ponds, cages, and other systems. And of course, we do have a very low or sometimes nil consumer awareness on fish welfare standards. So the last slide is really a summary of what I shared about farmed fish, but the scale is really huge. We still have a lot of gaps to address in terms of working, but there are some organizations who are doing very good work with a lot of courage, working with different stakeholders, and improving water quality and optimizing stocking density has been identified as a good natural entry point as well to improve fish welfare. So thank you so very much for your attention and also joining this webinar. Just a reminder, if you have any questions that couldn't be addressed today, please do email us at FAWI@welfarematters.org. And this is the link for the application as well. So the deadline is 15th of June, 2026. And we really look forward to seeing your applications and welcoming our new incubatees.